welcome back. I'm Brit Hume, and this is On the Record. There is a new Project Veritas video out tonight which seems directly to connect Hillary Clinton to Donald Duck costumes popping up at Trump events. At this hour, Trump himself is about to speak in Florida. You can see someone else is currently at the podium. We will monitor the rally and bring you any news that comes out of it. At the moment, the national polling average shows Hillary Clinton with a 5.5-point lead in a two-way race and a 5-point lead in a four-way. The betting odds continue to show her a heavy favorite by more than 5-1. Regardless of those numbers, Donald Trump says he is winning the race and blames the media for suggesting otherwise. Listen to this.
Watch the polls, because this is part of the crooked system. It's part of the rigged system. They are phony polls put out by phony media. They try and suppress the vote. This way people don't go out and vote. But we're winning this race.
Trump supporters cite a handful of polls they say correctly contradict all the others showing their man trailing. In particular, they like the Rasmussen poll, which currently shows Mr. Trump with a 2-point lead in a four-way race. It is the only poll in the Real Clear Politics average which has the Republican leading. So why doesn't this poll get more attention? For answers, we turn once again to Scott Jennings, who did political analysis for the Bush 43 White House. So, Scott, I can remember back in not too many years ago, we thought the Rasmussen polls were just fine. However, here at Fox News, we're encouraged to not pay much attention to them. Why would that be?
Well, the Rasmussen polls methodology has been called into question. It is an automated polling survey, so it's not a live caller like some of the higher quality media polls that are out there. And therefore, they don't have the capacity to capture people with cell phones, and it's a little ambiguous how they try to get around that. So on top of that, in 2012, the Rasmussen poll wasn't terribly accurate. There are 3 polls showing the Trump campaign in a competitive place. That's one of them, but it's not one that I would pay attention to.
Well, let me ask you, you mentioned that they don't, by law, robocall polls or robocalls cannot call cell phones. So they have what they say is a method, partly online, I'm not sure I understand it, whereby they purport to capture some of the cell phone users. Do you know how that works?
They have an online process that isn't exactly explained on their website. However, there is a high-quality survey, the Investors Business Daily poll, that does show Donald Trump in a competitive place. So if I were the Trump campaign or a Trump supporter and I wanted to hang my hat on something, I would disregard Rasmussen, but I would look at Investors Business Daily. It's a live caller survey. They capture cell phones with live callers, and it shows Trump in a competitive place.
Yes, in fact, right now, it basically shows the race a tie, both in a two-way and a four-way race. So, and you say it's on the up and up. Is there anything about it that should not encourage Trump voters to look at that and say, hey, we're right there. We're in the hunt?
Well, it is a high-quality survey in terms of methodology, and it did have a high degree of accuracy in 2012. There have been 3 surveys since the third debate that all have good methodology and live calling and capturing cell phones. Investors Business Daily, which has it basically tied. CNN Tonight has a 5-point advantage for Hillary Clinton, and ABC News Washington Post has a 12-point advantage for Clinton. So it's a tale of 3 different polls: tied, small lead, large lead. The difference in the surveys isn't really Trump. Everybody agrees he's below 45. The difference is, where's Hillary? Is she closer to 40 or is she closer to 50? That's the real variance in the 3 surveys since the third debate.
Yeah, I know. It's hard for me to believe that it's a 12-point lead right now. The 5 and 6 range seems more in keeping with the polling averages, which helps explain, by the way, why we use the polling averages every night, because we're trying to avoid being taken off track by outlier polls that don't comport with what most of the polls are showing. Now, in terms of what you're finding inside these polls, which show the candidates' proportion of the vote in various ways, what is it about these polls that you think would be more encouraging to Hillary voters and perhaps less so to Donald Trump, suggesting that the 5 or 6 point margin might be correct?
Well, inside the surveys since the debate, we see some degradation in GOP enthusiasm. We see Hillary Clinton in 2 of the 3 cases getting more party consolidation than Trump is getting. He's still hovering around 80% in 2 of those 3 surveys. However, in the CNN poll tonight, he was up at 90%, and that put him at 45% overall. So you can see consolidating your base puts you in a much more competitive position. Not necessarily ahead, but it does get you out of that low 40s vortex that he seems to be trapped inside of. And we also see Trump in some of the polling still competitive on the issue of the economy. For Hillary Clinton, though, it's temperament. You asked the question about temperament and judgment, and that's where she's beating Donald Trump. It's very close on the issues, but temperament seems to be where she's holding on to some kind of a lead, large or small. We don't know which.
You know, I wonder if we look at that CNN ORC poll, and we have it up on the screen, and it shows that both candidates are about the same place with members of their own party. Trump, as you noted, had been trailing in that category down, as you said, about 80%, which was not, when you think Romney got 93% of Republicans, obviously he had some ground to make up. Perhaps this poll is the leading edge of a change, which would bode well for him.
That's right. To have any chance to win, he needs to get up over 90% of Republicans. And he has been doing fairly well with independents in some surveys. And so you see, getting to 90% puts him there in the mid-40s. He needs to go even higher if he is to win this race. And Hillary Clinton, of course, needs to hang on to her Democratic base.
Right. Scott, as always, thanks very much. There is, as we noted, a new undercover video out tonight from Project Veritas.